Hi guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for Thursday, the 16th of May. So a couple of things coming into the day that I was hammering on. The first one was, if you watched the trade review the day prior, I was very concerned that we were going to have a move out of balance and a range expansion. That's often accompanied by a open drive lower, and that's precisely what we had. We gap down, and so what I was mentioning out of the gate is what we were going to look for to see if we were having true weakness. I said the first point would be that we would not get gap fill. Check on that. Secondly, we would not attain half gap. Check on that. So we have two of the 5 points on the checklist to verify that we have potential open drive lower. Secondly, we have a lack of rotation. Let's go to the 1 minute chart to take a look at this. Generally speaking, it's 2, sometimes 2.5 points in the counter rotation. If we look at the 1 minute chart, okay, we will see that out of the gate we opened lower. We were unable to even push above the first minute bar, much less the first 5 minute bar, right? The counter rotations. Let's see, we came down to approximately 1878 3/4. We rotated up to 1880.50, less than 2 points of counter rotation right out of the gate. This is the first 5 minutes of the day, okay? All these clues were becoming available. Okay, so now we've got 3, less than 2 points of counter rotation, right? So, and then the next piece was, what was a tick looking like out of the gate? And if we look at the tick out of the gate, right, and we pull this down right here, here is the 0 tick right here, guys. Okay, see that on the NYC tick? All these ticks for the first really 30 minutes, not a single tick above 500, above 0. Okay, and really for the entire, until we got to the end of the first hour, right, all these ticks were down. Additionally, look, the ticks here are rising, okay, and the ticks in the numbers here are going down. Okay, so what does that indicate? That indicates that okay, so NYSE tick is a measure of the broader market on the New York Stock Exchange. So if the broader stock exchange, if for every tick going down, okay, so what this means is, as this number is rising, that means more stocks are ticking up than ticking down, even though net okay, let's correct that statement. The tick was rising because fewer stocks were going down as a whole, right, than they were down here. However, if you look, as this number was rising, meaning fewer stocks on the New York Stock Exchange as a whole were feeling less selling pressure, the S&P was actually receiving more selling pressure. Obviously, if you think about the inverse of that, right, if once the pressure on the broader market to rise has ended, right, then the selling on the S&P should ideally accelerate, right? And that's exactly what happened in this particular area. I'd also mentioned in the morning that this entire area down to the gap fill, right, was extremely poorly auctioned, okay, and that that I would be very cautious in taking the contract anywhere in this area. So look, even if I ended up taking a loss here, which is fine, I did, I avoided the first 10 points of pain to the downside. Now, would have been nice if I could take it to the short side, yes. And I said in the AM that if I could have gotten a rotation up and a pause or some kind of indication early in the going that I could get in a pause in the zone above. I was unclear whether I would take it near the gap fill or into Wednesday's low, but either way, that I would be more than happy, going back to the 5 minute chart, to take a shot to the short side up in this zone. Did I get it? No. That's okay. That's part of trading. I don't chase. I won't take the trades out of the zone 99% of the time because it puts me at risk of being exposed to unnecessary risk, and not just from on that particular trade, but psychologically. I think my psychological capital now that I'm a long way from just simply trying to make money, I make money on a regular basis. I'm very comfortable with that. My psychological capital is actually more important than my trading capital, okay? Because making sound decisions again and again and again is very important. Okay, I said that I would take a trade first time in here. I was actually looking to try to get, I was taking NQ long at the same time that I was trying to take ES long. And so by the time I jumped over to ES after I took care of NQ, we were 1873. That's the only reason I didn't take 1873 and 3/4. It was just a matter of mechanics of getting from point A to point B on the domes. Okay, so after we clearly obviously got swept down here to the downside, and we then I obviously just simply got stopped. The first time they kind of gave me the grace. I said my first time my stop was 1870. I missed my stop by a tick. I was really pretty sure we were going to get our 2-point rotation up at this point. Obviously the sell point pressure was still significant. It's all right. I'm willing to lose money here. My only caveat in my trading notes was that it was prior to that first hour. Again, I can't stress on open drives lower and open drives higher. If you can delay your trades till after 9:30 a.m., life becomes much easier. That's all there is to it. You get better counter rotations after 9:30 a.m. If you look into the zones below, and again, I was working these rather quickly, and it's 2:40 in the morning. Should be asleep, but I fell asleep a little bit early tonight, so I'm going to try to go back to bed as soon as I'm done with this. But okay, if you look at the trade location here, even if you took the front of the zone, right? So let's count the time that we're in this zone. Here's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. So in my humble opinion, okay, as long as you didn't take the front of the zone here on this rotation lower, you should have been able to get out with a profit on this trade. But even if you took the front of the zone right here, by the time you got up here, you were 25 minutes into this trade, and you could have bailed. Now, a couple of people had mentioned that this had become the first hour low here, potentially, and that they had held on for that, and that's fine. No big deal, but usually, I'm not exactly sure how. I'm not exactly sure how else I would set up a trade plan to counter the 25 minutes in this particular area, particularly when I said once we were underneath initial support, we needed to pop out of those zones relatively quickly, and that just simply did not happen, right? If we look again on the zone below, right, let's say you took this zone and you should have come out decent here. Almost anybody should come out either flat or break even, in my opinion. On this particular location, right? And I also said I wasn't sure whether we'd find the response from this location or this location in the market preview. So wasn't trying to stick this area necessarily. Okay, so the zone below, again, let's look through the basic rules of trading without getting too fancy. Basic rules: first time into the zone, 25-minute rule, 2-point stop behind the back of the zone. So let's assume because of the consolidation right above, you moved to middle of the back, which made perfect sense. If that's the case, okay, so you had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes into this zone. You had one or two choices. You either could have taken a loss for, actually in this case, less than 2 points. I don't know why you would cut it short by 2 ticks and not just let it sit there, but if you did, that's fine. That exceeded the 25 minutes. After the 25 minutes, right, we rotated back up. You should have pushed your location back a bit because of the consolidation right above this zone. Essentially, we came within 1 tick of this zone, which usually automatically calls for me to look to the back half, to the back end of the zone again. It was really busy for me at this particular time, and it was hard for me to tweet at that particular juncture very much of anything. But these are my general rules that I copy day after day, my trading, and I have been for a long, long time now. So obviously, if you took it anywhere but the front of the zone, even at the front of the zone, right, you were able to eventually garner 2 points of rotation above. And again, even with the 25-minute rule, the 25-minute rule came within 2 ticks, and I wouldn't cut the trade short for 2 ticks. It's $25. I'm already in the thing. Let them go ahead and take me to the downside. That's how I view it. And then this last piece, again, I'd mentioned we had consolidation right in front of the zone. This was not an easy sequence, right? But if you look once again, if you just taken with consolidation in front, if you just moved middle to back, perfect example again, middle to back of the zone, gave you a quick 2 points, right? And then I'd also tweeted out here, I want to show you all this, at a couple of things. First of all, you'll see I had at 10:30, let's see here. Oh, there we go. 10:50 a.m. That's right here. And what I was mentioning was that there was a potential trap setting up in NQ. So without going into the trap trade, I cover it with my coaching clients. Basically, when we have range extension days, the first hour high and the first hour low become pretty pivotal points and are often points of major reversals in the market. And if we look over here at NQ, see if I can pull up my NQ chart, clear this out. If we look out over here on NQ, you'll see that if we clear all this junk out here, let's do that really quick. Okay, if you look, this is the first hour low right here. And you can see once we closed above, they were unable to push back below. This obviously this 1050 right here was the low, and if you'll look on a 1 minute chart at that same time, we actually had tick divergence just a couple minutes before, right at 10:55 a.m. There's a 1 minute tick divergence. Okay, and so after we got this, I actually was able to pull this off of the lows here long on NQ. It's a scalp trade setup, and I was keying off of actually the tick divergence in ES and a 800 tick chart pattern to set this trade up, and I was able to garner this, and then I did not take the I was working on the trap in what was I doing? Oh yeah, I had to leave for lunch, or it's 2:30 in the morning. My brain's not working so hot. I had a coaching client at 11 a.m. Today, and I usually try to do that a couple times a week over New York lunch, and so I wasn't able to tweet out what was going on here, but I did want to give a heads up that there was a potential trap, and the potential trap set. We closed back above, right here, above the first hour low. That's at the trap. They try to push lower, but obviously once they trap below. And then I also called out that I was actually short. I took this. I don't remember the time frame. I used to do the short. Oh yes, I do right here. I was short from right here down to here, and I actually counter traded this short to the downside on NQ. I guess I really shouldn't be covering it since I don't go into detail, but I captured these little series of moves right through here. I tweeted this one out on ES. This took place at the same time on the ES trade. The point was that we were trapped at that particular point, and that's why I had cautioned. Okay, so look at my logic. Is there multiple ways to capture this? Well, there is. So at 1 o'clock, which is right here, right? I said I thought that I put a thought that keeps me from getting too bearish on days like today is the idea that most days do not close on the low. So if you got crushed in this move up, right? Or if we look on the ES trade, and I'm sorry if I'm a little incoherent, I'm a little tired, I need to get back to sleep so I'll be fresh in the morning. But look, this is 1 o'clock right here. This is where I make this comment, okay? Right here. This is the first hour low, so we have not trapped yet. Back again on ES, we had one failed trap earlier right here, okay? But we had the tick divergence occur right here. This is at 10:55, and we had one more final push into the zone just right at 11 a.m. That's an algo that usually fires at right at the beginning of New York lunch. It's not uncommon to see that algo fire, particularly on trend days down. That gave the last push, finally squeezed everyone out. And then this is where I tweeted out, hey guys, you know, I'm not going to get overly bearish in here because look, it's not common for us to close on the low of the day, even in bear markets. Okay, so if you look, I was able to garner a short here. I didn't call this out. I was in this coaching session at the time, but I did call this one out right. 1866.50, I believe, is where I had it, which was, oh, there we go, right here. Okay, so at 1866.50, I called it out. I said I had 1 minute tick divergence, and right into this location, and I'll see if I can find it on the chart there for you on the 1 minute chart. And hopefully it's 2:50 a.m. I will be finished up here in just a moment. Let's see, going back to the 1 minute chart. Where was it? Oh, didn't want to move that. Okay, 1866.50, and you can see I was on the back side of this. See if we can get these two to match up a little bit further back. Ah, there we go. I even highlighted it. Perfect. So let's move this down a little bit. Let's bring this down just a drop. Okay, here you can see, can you see that we make a tick high right here, right? And then on the push up, we actually have tick divergence. That's 1 minute tick divergence, guys. That's what I was keying off of for that move lower. Now again, in that same spirit of I don't know where the market's going to go, I put my initial target 2 points down. For most traders, newer traders, the 2 points is all you need. Bag it and go on. On the chance that we might have pushed and tested for the lows, okay, I was really thinking we weren't going to rally up too much more, and we really didn't. If you look, right, it was we went up to 1869, no big deal, but that's where we pushed up to. I moved my stop to break even, and then I let the market do what it wanted to do. I had a potential of as much as 4.5 points on this trade. I just simply chose to go for the larger trade in this particular case, and I let the second half of the trade pull me out. Net for the day, if you had simply taken your 3-point stop and your 2-point gains, right, you would have ended up on ES for the trades I actually called out or posted in real time. You would have ended up down 1 point. If you took the other two trades in the zones that I had pointed out in the market preview, you should have actually ended up either up on the day or break even on the day, one of the two. But even without that, right, just taking the two trades that I posted, down one, as it was, I only took half the trade on the second half, so I ended up down 2 points on the day on ES. I had a really good day in NQ, so it's what I want to get to in that particular issue is, look, down 2 is no big deal for me. I think I'm up for the week. If I'm right, I'm either up 10 or 12 points. Okay, so it's not a ES, it's not a knock the ball out of the park kind of week. I'm not, and that's just on the most basic trade, right? That's not counting anything else I do. That's not counting any extensions I've gotten on trailers. That's just counting, hey, did I make 2 points here, yes or no? Okay, and by that measure, in that particular case, if I just measure it in that way, right, today was a down 1 point day, net, and if I looked at the other two zones, right, it was as much as a potential of an up 2 point day. So depending on how you traded it, if you traded it just on the basic 2 point strategy that I execute, right, most of my guys were either flat or profitable today, but either way, no significant damage, considering that we had an open drive lower, and so I'm going to wrap up here because I am tired. Okay, considering that we had an open drive lower, I sidestepped the first 10 points of downside. I didn't get location short. I would have taken it again if we could have rotated up. That's the nature of the market. No big deal. I'm not trying, I want to reiterate this, I'm not trying to be Mr. Perfect and nail every single trade. That'll drive you nuts. Not only that, but I don't even need to be. I make plenty of money as it is just on what the market gives me. I sidestepped all of this noise. I took my stop here. I'm still willing to take shots at open gaps. They tend to be extremely profitable for me. I'm willing to do it again. Okay, we got on the zones below, I did mention that 1870.50 was a single point of support, and we just missed it by actually we came right to it now that I think about it. We came right to 1870.50 and we rotated up for 2 points. So for those of you who took it at 1870.50, I did mention as a single point of support, and that location worked well. The zone below, right? If you took it anywhere except the very top of the zone, if you took it middle to back, this is an example of where those guys who took it from the front had to shift a little bit. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes in, your loss should not have been significant here, okay? Unless you were going for the trap trade, and that's a more advanced trade. I don't even mention that very much publicly. You should have been able to get out flat here. Next time into the zone, right? We came within a tick of the top of the zone. That cues me up to either look for the back of the zone or tick divergence. Tick divergence actually didn't occur, if you look here, until we got right here at this 1055. That set us up for one last push down into this zone right here. I mentioned when we were down here past 20 points, right, that all of this had the potential of being a great trade location for reversal back up. If you took this zone and you left a trailer, you had a potential of a 10-point rotation back to the upside. Okay, and I mentioned that this would be a good location to look for reversals. I can't do better than that than just say, hey, this is a good area. You know, I can't make it easy, and I can't make you not exasperated or frustrated from having to deal with all this stuff. Trend dates down or range extensions down tend to be hard. For those people who waited for after the last hour, okay, life got a little bit easier, right? You didn't get exasperated by trying to deal with all this stuff. And after 9:30, again, if you look, we were getting, this is 9:30. This is the first time into a zone right here after 9:30. This gave everybody 2 points out of this zone. It gave everybody 2 points out of that zone. That's an individual trader's decision as to whether they want to wait till after 9:30. I chose not to. I usually think this is a high odds location. It was prior to the econ at the top of the hour, and I was needing that econ to push us up out of that zone. If that didn't happen, c'est la vie. It was a risk I was willing to take. I said so publicly. I have no problem with it. If you took a stop here, right, all you had to do, and I say this time and time again to all my coaching clients, if you take a stop here, right, take a breather and wait till after 9:30. Look how much easier the trading got post 9:30 a.m. We actually got rotations. I can't pound that any harder. Everyone, what undisciplined traders do is they try to force their hands prior to 9 o'clock. They end up taking stops and being done for the rest of the day. And there was good two-sided action all the way through the balance of this day. As you can tell, I took a short and still made money even though we were pushing higher. And I took longs and made money on the upside, particularly in NQ. Not so much. I didn't do such a good job on the long side in terms of extensions on ES. But that's cool. It's not a big deal either way. So I hope that all made sense. I know I'm tired. I'm working really hard to be consistent on getting these evening trade reviews out. It's 2 in the morning. At least my European friends will get to see this. And I'm going to go ahead and post this as quickly as possible. And I will have the link for the trade review, which I'm doing next, so that people, for the market preview, so that those of you who want to sign up for it will be able to sign up before Monday. I'm sorry it's been so long. I really should have hired someone to simply do the website for me. And I will circle back around and get that done again. We will still be going to a paid for market preview, and I will be posting that preview after 10:30 or 11 a.m. each day for the general public, for those who want to pay for it and get the trade plan early. It'll be $95 a month, and man, I just try to take too much of this on my own, and I should have hired it out. So foolish decision on my part, and I will get that corrected by hiring someone, hopefully over the next couple of days, to work that over for me. So have a great night, everyone. I am tired. I am crawling back into bed. I will see you all in the morning.